We're going back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the second year in a row. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Quick Strike. As always, my name is Jake Ricker, and alongside me is my good friend and co-host, Michael Wax. Michael, how are you feeling after that Tampa Bay Lightning victory as we are going back to the Stanley Cup Finals and are defending back-to-back Eastern Conference champions?
Feeling great. You know, one of the things that we talk about is that Game 7 is the greatest two words in sports until your team is playing in it. But the Lightning really dominated this Game 7. They played exceptionally well, and they really made up for a Game 6 in which they kind of blew it. So today, I think a lot of Lightning fans can say, we're very excited to be going back to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Well, I would hope so. Well, let's break this game down period by period and talk about how this one went out. And then we'll talk about what's coming up in the future for the Tampa Bay Lightning as they get set to take on the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Final. So starting the game off in period number one, it was a very tightly contested game. I think right now I'll say this, credit to the New York Islanders. They played a great series. They played a great Game 7 of Varlamov especially, who kept the Islanders in this one all the way to the end. So, I know we get frustrated with their fans and some of their players sometimes, but a great series by them nonetheless, and a lot of credit does need to go to them. But by the end of the first period, Michael, the score was 0-0. You had no penalties in this period either. The refs were putting their whistles away, which was expected. That's not a huge surprise in a Game 7 like this, but a battle by both teams. The Lightning were playing pretty well, though. You had to feel decent, I think, going into the second period.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could have been 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 possibly if it wasn't for the efforts of Semyon Varlamov. He was, in my opinion, probably the best player for either team. He was fantastic in this game. He made a couple of great ace stops, but that didn't stop the Lightning. If you are running into a red hot goaltender, some of the times you can be annoyed and you could stop playing your game and allow the other team to capitalize on their chances. But aside from a breakaway, semi breakaway from Anthony Beauvillier, which I believe was like 5 to 6 minutes into the game, Andre Vasilevsky made a really, really nice pad save, all 6'7" of them. I didn't really feel like the Islanders had many good opportunities. I thought the Lightning dominated most of that first period. And even though they didn't get rewarded for it, if you keep on playing your game, you're going to eventually break through.
If I remember correctly, shots were 15-5 by the end of that first period, and it continued that way for most of the game. Going into the second period, still, 0-0 game, tightly contested, but the Lightning would get called for the first penalty of the game as Barclay Goodrow is called for cross-checking about a minute into this one. And I've got to say, this was a terrible penalty by Goodrow. It was a blatant cross-check behind the play. I hated the penalty, and it put the Lightning on a penalty kill, and you were a little worried at that point. But the Lightning, man, they made the Islanders pay even on the power play as Yanni Gourde would score a short-handed goal to put the Lightning up 1-0. A pass from Alex Killorn up to Anthony Cirelli, who draws three Islanders defender over to the right side of the boards, and they're all focused on him. Does an amazing job of holding that puck in. And then he throws it over to Yanni Gourde, who's coming right in all by himself. Gourde puts it into the back of the net. And the Lightning have a 1-0 lead in the second period. But I'm sure a lot of Lightning fans had deja vu from Game 6 because this was kind of similar where the Lightning went up 2-0 in Game 6 and you ended up losing that game. But 1-0 so far. No other goals would happen. No other penalties would happen for the rest of the period. But you're leading 1-0, heading into the final 20, and this is where the nerves kick in, I think, for a lot of Lightning fans, as you were 20 minutes away from going to the Stanley Cup Final, but you knew, it's only 1-0 on the scoreboard. So this was still anybody's game.
Yeah, an exceptional shorthanded goal by all three of those forwards. And one of the things that we don't talk about as much, I don't think, is that the Lightning's first penalty kill unit is by far probably one of the best in the NHL. Like we've seen in the other series that Montreal's penalty kill is probably the best in the entire league. But the Tampa Bay Lightning's Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow duo might be the best duo in the entire league. Now, when you have somebody on that duo take a penalty, ultimately that's going to hamper what you can do. And so the second unit, we don't talk about as much because they're not out there for as much. But you've got other penalty killers on this team like Killorn, like Cirelli, like Gord, where even if they don't score that goal, Anthony Cirelli still draws 3 members of the Islanders to him. And he presses that puck against the boards. He's killing off penalty kill time. But he has the awareness to find Yanni Gord, who, great shot. Fantastic. The Lightning now lead 1-0. Anthony Cirelli, I think, is probably one of the best players in the series because he was playing really, really well. He had a goal in Game 6. He struggled at the beginning of the series. The NBC loves to talk about how the second line wasn't doing anything. As soon as Games 5, 6, and 7 happened, Anthony Cirelli was immediately one of the best players on the ice. So if the Lightning are going to do the thing again, Cirelli's got to be there again. And he was vital to them even making it there.
Every single player has to be there if they want to do.
That's fair. Yeah.
But you're right. But so third period, Lightning are up 1-0, and going into that final 20 minutes, I thought the Lightning played a good third period again. They had some good opportunities. Varlamov continued to make some great saves when he needed to keep this game 1-0. Is it easily, like you said, could have been 2-3-0 at a couple of points, but they kept him in it. The Islanders, I think, definitely played their best period in the third period, which you would expect when your season's on the line and you're down to your final 20 minutes. But Andrei Vasilevsky, once again, showing why he is the greatest goaltender, maybe in NHL history at this point. He's definitely making a push for that right now. Definitely the best goaltender in the NHL right now. No question about that. But, the way he's playing right now, it's just absolutely unbelievable. But the clock would eventually tick down. By the way, credit to Coleman, I believe it was, who grabbed the puck at the end of the game. I think it's about under a minute to go and just held the puck alongside the boards for like a full minute, it felt like. He did a fantastic job of keeping that puck in the Islanders zone after they had pulled Varlamov. But the clock would eventually tick down. The Lightning fans were on their feet. They went absolutely crazy. It was awesome to hear in there. Let me tell you, it wasn't like a library in there in the final minute. There's no question about that. I think they almost blew the roof off that place. But the Tampa Bay Lightning would win this game by a score of 1-0. Andrei Vasilevsky picks up his 4th consecutive series clinching shutout dating back to the Stanley Cup Finals of last year, which is an NHL record. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are headed back to the Stanley Cup Finals to face the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, and you brought up the player holding the puck along the boards in the final minute. That was also Barclay Goodrow. Goodrow,
for his penalty. There you go.
Exactly. He had some really bad plays in this game, like the penalty included. Had some really good plays in this game, like making sure that the Lightning were going to win at the end. Huge credit to Ryan McDonagh as well. That man was a shot blocking machine all game, especially in the third period. You could tell that he wants to win another cup. I don't know what the feelings among the Lightning players are in terms of what they thought of last year's cup versus this year. I'm sure last year means a lot to them, but they were not near their families for the majority of the time. There weren't any fans. It really felt like a band of brothers last year. This year, you've got a lot more at stake, in my opinion. You've got people looking after you. You've got those same band of brothers that didn't get rid of a ton of guys, but there's a goal in mind to make this the greatest Lightning and potentially the greatest Tampa team of all time. So ultimately, and I do want to get to this stat before we wrap up, the Lightning, after a loss in the last 2 postseasons, unmatched. So this is the math I did myself, and if it's wrong, I am sorry. However,
We appreciate it either way.
in the Tampa Bay Lightning's last two postseasons, after a loss, they are 13-0 with a 3.85 goals for per game and a 1.46 goals against per game.
Wow.
That means that they're scoring a lot after a loss. Not today, but they're normally scoring a lot. If they're not scoring a lot, that means Andre Vasilevsky has to be on his game. Andre Vasilevsky is 13-0 with a 949 save percentage and a 1.30 goals against average in the last two postseasons following a loss. This team has an identity, and it's that they don't like to lose.
As Phil Esposito would say, wow. That's all I can say. That's very impressive numbers. That's it's one of the reasons why I wasn't. I mean, I was concerned about a game seven. Obviously, you're always nervous for that, but you felt a little bit better going into this game seven because you knew how good the Lightning are after a loss. It's the reason they won the Stanley Cup last year, a big part of it. And to touch on your point about this year being different, I think you're right for sure. A guy like Steven Stamkos definitely wants to win this cup because he only played in one game, and even though he was a big part of that team in a leadership role, he's chomping at the bit to get another chance to win the cup and be a huge part of it. Something else, Michael, we forgot to mention at the beginning of the game, Nikita Kucherov did play in this game after missing nearly the entire game in game six. He was out there for pregame warmups. The crowd loved it. They were chanting Kuch's name, and he was good to go, and he went and played. He didn't make a huge impact on the score sheet. Not many people did because it was a 1-0 game. But I still think he looked okay out there. You could definitely tell he wasn't 100%. Kuch said after the game there was no question he was going to play, and he felt good to go. But that's Nikita Kucherov, so he was going to say that. Cooper did not feel the same way, but he's glad that Kucherov did, but a good sign that Kucherov did play in this game and played a lot of ice time too. I believe after the first period, he was leading in ice time. I don't know what his final numbers were, but Kucherov will hopefully be able to good to go now for the Stanley Cup Finals, which start on Monday, which we will get into when our series preview comes up. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on that video. But hopefully Kucherov is going to be okay and good to go for the Stanley Cup Finals. Good sign for Bolts fan that he played here in Game 7.
Yeah, so Kucherov ended up playing 16 minutes and 29 seconds overall. It was less than normal because, again, he's not 100%, but someone like Yanni Gord played more than he did. Braden Point played more than he did. Braden Point was only 16.7% of the faceoff dot, which,
Braden Point also unfortunately did not score a goal in this game, which means his goal streak
yeah.
does come to an end, which is unfortunate, but still a 9-goal streak is amazing in itself. So a bummer that it comes to an end, but I'm sure he really didn't care about that. They're just happy to win that game.
Yeah, so the Braden Point thing, like, that's got to be like the greatest stretch in NHL history. I know the other guy scored 10 in a row.
Definitely
like,
in recent memory. There's no question
yeah.
about that.
Also, did feel bad for Eric Chernak because he also returned, but the crowd did not chant his name.
Well, unfortunately,
he's a vital part of this team. Okay,
it's true. It's true. It's true. But nonetheless, the whole team is here, 100% or not. These guys love to play, and the Lightning are going back to the Stanley Cup Final. So that's going to do it for us, guys, in today's video. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy the video. It really helped us out here on YouTube. Lets us know you're enjoying these videos. Let us know down in the comments below how you're feeling here in Tampa Bay or wherever you are that we're going back to the Stanley Cup Finals. If you're excited, if you're ready to face the Montreal Canadiens. Again, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. The series preview will be coming out tomorrow by the time you're seeing this video. That's Saturday. So don't want to miss that. Be sure to be here and check that one out. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, your Tampa Bay Lightning have a chance to go back to back as we are still your defending Stanley Cup champions.
go Bolts.